Today, I felt the need to revisit one of my favorite stocks, AMD. I'm going to take you through the latest quarter to see if we picked up all the fundamentals needed going forward as investors. We're also going to take a look under the hood in terms of their economic metrics long term, take a look at the latest news. And I actually know there are a couple of very good news for AMD long term. And let's also compare them with other companies and where they stand, and in some parts where I see competition actually getting a bit more fierce. So this will be a very interesting take. So I hope you follow me through the whole video here. Before we continue, I want to tell you why you should support and follow this YouTube channel. Here we break down financial events and systems to make every day more manageable. We also want to build a community long term and address different types of topics, historical and new events that are interesting through an economic lens. And hopefully we can build a community together and have fun along the way. So this is the CEO of AMD, Lisa Su, talking with the CNBC about the latest quarter 2 weeks back. And you're going to see that this was actually an amazing quarter for AMD. Despite this, the stock is actually down since the quarter. At this time and place, it was 218. Now it's about 204 or something like that. So the market can be fickle short term, but I guess this is good news long term. Let's listen.
The company beat the estimates. They boosted by exactly what Dave was talking about, which is the booming data center business, but also, and I think we're really going to miss the point, and the analysts missed the point badly, by the CPU business, which is the business that competes against Intel. We got to learn about both of them because the CPU business was completely left out by the analysts. It was kind of pathetic. And that's why I'm glad to have AMD Chair and CEO Lisa Su on the show. Lisa, I'm going to offer you a congratulations because not only are you well ahead of where you told me you would be with GPUs at this time 2 years ago, but you're also killing it when it comes to CPUs. And I think we got to talk on both. Where are you making the most money now? Where will you make the most money next year at this time?
Well, first of all, Jim, great to be on the show with you guys. Thank you. Look, 2025 was a fantastic year for AMD. We really closed it off strong. And what we see is strength across the entire business, which is really exciting. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of excitement about, data center and AI and what we're doing around GPUs. And that business has performed extremely well. And we're going into a big inflection year here in 2026. But as you were saying, like the CPU business is absolutely on fire. And this is one of those stories where, I've always said, Jim, that you need all kinds of compute when you think about data center and the massive build-outs that we're seeing. And we're seeing just continued strength in the CPU business, which is, really our stronghold right now. So we're very excited about, what we've done, but much more excited about what we have going forward in 2026.
All right. Well, let's take off the table the idea that your guidance disappointed. Your guidance was actually pretty consistent with what you've been saying. Second half.
People think that the guidance was disappointed because they are not accelerating the revenue gains in quarter one. But that is because in this type of environment, when you are a data center company, an AI company, revenues do not accelerate in quarter one because it's in quarter four you do all the late game sales of the year. Basically, that's how the circle of the year works. So I think maybe people did expect something that is not realistic in terms of how the cycles work.
I don't know why anyone would think it was going to be second quarter. Am I missing something? Did you tell people that it was going to be second quarter and it turns out to be second half and they're disappointed? Where does the disappointment come in?
Well, let me say something, Jim. When we think about how the compute market is evolving, let me just give you a picture of where the trends are right now in AI. I know there's a lot of conversation, every morning on the show, you guys are talking about where is the AI trade. What I would tell you from someone on the inside is AI is accelerating at a pace that I would not have imagined. So you see, AI demand from the hyperscalers, you see AI demand from enterprises, and what is the foundation of all of that is compute. And so what is really important for us is to ensure that, we have the full range of compute. Now, as we go into the first quarter is usually seasonally down for us because we do have some consumer exposure. And I think the most important thing is we're actually seeing our data center business actually increase from Q4 into Q1, which is a show of the strength of the business, both on the CPU side, which is going like gangbusters, and with our AI capabilities and GPUs. We're seeing very nice ramp into the first half of the year, but yes, we're going to have an inflection point as we go into the second half of the year with our new, MI450 series and our Helios rack systems.
But let's talk about that, Lisa, because one of the things that I think is important that people don't understand is that, yes, it's absolutely true. The Vera Rubin certainly has some qualities. This is the next generation to be unveiled at GTC, not that far from now. Vera Rubin's got really some terrific stuff, but your stuff, when it comes to memory, is actually bigger and better.
That's absolutely right, Jim. What we're seeing today is because there's so many AI workloads out there, you really have to optimize, and that's optimized for training and optimized for inference. And from our standpoint, we're just seeing an explosion of inference as enterprises are using more and more AI. And that's exactly the sweet spot for our MI450 series and Helios. So we're super excited about how that's coming up. The development is going extremely well, and we're working closely with our customers and the entire supply chain to bring that to market in the second half of the year.
Okay, interesting from Lisa Su there and CNBC talking about their latest quarter. I'm going to show you some raw numbers from the quarter and fast go through them also, but I could say as an investor, I was very pleased. They're doing almost $10.4 billion in revenue and actually getting some income from China. And as they said there, the CPUs are also performing extremely good. They need more compute everywhere, and they are getting a lot of traction for their GPU products at the moment. And the second half of 2026 will be next level. So this is amazing. I did promise you to walk you through the latest quarterly numbers from AMD, and here you see the revenue going up to $10.3 billion. I did say $10.4 billion, but it's actually $10.3 billion, and it's up 34% year over year. So that's amazing. We've seen stocks that has just increased their revenue 5 to 10% year over year, having their stock prices just sky high. This year, AMD has 34%. They have increased their gross margin from 51 to 54%. So they are actually gaining more money from their products in terms of revenue and cost efficiency. Of course, we have some expenses going up here. They are investing a lot in R&D. They have to keep up with other AI companies to push versus Intel that get that investment from the government of USA. We also have Nvidia always being top tier opponent. I still think they're gonna differentiate themselves here, AMD, long term. This at the moment, I feel like Wall Street are like rewarding all AI companies, Broadcom, Teradyne, whatever AI company you says, Lam Research or whatever, Micron, 250% up Micron. A lot of these companies has not performed as well as AMD, and that is why I'm a bit frustrated as an AMD investor, because I see the numbers that are better than the other AI companies out there. I see the future growth trajectory is better. The products is much more complicated. For example, Micron, they have their RAM memory out there. They have gigantic factories, but the gains of them is just keeping that demand and production quite tight. So they push the price up artificially, while AMD has to go toe to toe with Nvidia, the greatest company in the world at the moment. So I think it's a different ball game here, and AMD has to like actually improve their R&D and real products to keep up and gain market share, both with Intel back in the days when Intel had the monopoly of CPUs, and now when Nvidia has the monopoly of GPUs, they have to do the same thing. And yeah, that is hard, but I'm so amazed that they are doing so good. This is also like music to the ears, or like this maybe, what can I say, for the eyes, a beautiful painting, seeing the internet income go up 213% year over year to the latest quarter here. Yeah, it's not. I have nothing bad to say. This number is a lot higher than most experts thought. It was a bit boosted by some revenue from China, but I think instead of like actually counting that as something positive, like extra cash flow, a lot of experts just removed that and said, "Oh, but it's just China income. We don't care about that." But when it's another company that has some controversial income, for example, Palantir, the experts doesn't care at all. They just push the stock sky high, despite having a lot of income from Israel, for example, and the war there. So I think this is a great potential, and the stock price isn't fully rewarded yet for this performance in the latest quarter. Here we have the full year. So we did have $34.6 billion in revenue. And if you did see the latest quarter here, 10.3, if you add $10.3 billion and just push that through the whole 2026, we would have like 41 $42 billion. So already there we have a lot of increase compared to 2025. But we do know that the revenue of 2026 will be a lot higher than 41 $42 billion. I think we are going towards $50 billion at least, because that deal with the Helios rack scale system with OpenAI the second half of the year, and also the HPE deals they have with the Helios rack scale system, now the India deal. Maybe the India deal will not get us so much revenue early on, but long term will push the revenue numbers up. Obviously, we are quite late in the cycles of Xbox and Sony PlayStation, so these products are not pushing the cash flow as much anymore. And I think that might be an headwind going into 2026. But despite that, I think the AI spending will be huge. We have seen all the big companies continue to spend, despite what Wall Street wants, and this will help AMD also going forward. And I think AMD also has that kind of solutions that will make them a player that can sell to all types of companies, not just the mega players, also the kind of small players that want a more competitive price for the AI systems. So think about that. Here we see that they have some, yeah, income from China there. $360 million. I think that is very positive for the MI 308, but Wall Street didn't care at all, basically. Data centers record, fantastic. What's interesting also is the forward-looking statement outlook here. This is the $9.8 billion and plus minus $300 million. And this is what Wall Street thought. Oh, they are not growing quarter over quarter. But as Lisa Su said there in the video, that's not how it works in this business, at least not for AMD. They have that the cycles, the product cycles, the customers, etc. And also they are not counting any China income here, I think. And also AMD are always lowballing their kind of estimates going forward. So I think this will at least be $10.1 billion, maybe more. So yeah, amazing numbers. Flawless execution latest quarter. Now we just have to have patience long term here with AMD, and don't care too much about the stock price short term, in terms of you can't have a better quarter at the moment than this. This is where things turns really interesting for AMD. So in the latest news here, they're gonna cooperate with TCS. It's an Indian company, and they're gonna bring their new Helios rack scale AI architecture system to India. And India is a huge market, a growth opportunity, and I think all AI companies actually want to be a part of building that infrastructure in India. And what we see here in the highlights is that enterprises across India now will gain access to the new deployment of AMD Helios rack scale AI architecture, and this will support India's AI initiative and sovereign AI factories. Also, AMD and TCS will help enterprise customers accelerate AI at scale with the AI training and inference platform designed to improve operational efficiency, etc. And you see here the product they are going to use is this MI455X GPUs, and that is the type of product that they have disclosed in the deal with OpenAI that are very sought after now in the marketplace. And I think this is the key driver for AMD going forward. The CEO of AMD basically said that they're going to have tens of billions of dollars in AI revenue going forward. And I think a part of that calculation is this MI455X GPU. So This basically means that AMD lately has performed very good with their GPUs, and this is the next step. This is the next level where they are really, really close to NVIDIA, and they are actually better in some aspects in terms of memory. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to see this product being deployed the second part of 2026. They're going to use the AMD Epic Venice CPUs, best in class, the Pensandos Volcano NICs, and the Open ROCm system. And ROCm is basically their software system that are similar to the CUDA system of NVIDIA. And the ROCm system has improved really fast for AMD. So I like what I see here. If they do get a really good collaboration here with TCS, I guess this will be such a long-term boost for AMD. And yeah, let's hear what the CEO of TCS says. So he says that collaboration lays the foundation for AMD's first Helios-powered infrastructure in India, and by combining our strength and connectivity and sustainable power, the advanced data center engineering, we are poised to deliver state-of-the-art infrastructure solutions for all AI companies and global enterprises. So they are basically very thrilled with the collaborations. TCS stands for Tata Consultancy Services, and yeah, this is a digital transformation and technology partner of choice in India, and an industry-leading organization that are working worldwide. So the company is recognized as a top employer in over six continents, and yeah, I think this shows that AMD are actually providing a very good products. If they wouldn't do that, I'm quite sure that Nvidia would be very happy to take such a big partnership in India with TCS, and we do know that Nvidia also is expanding in India. So this just show that AMD are in the race here and continue to deliver state of the art products and competitive products going into the second half of 2026. Yeah. Here I have some other great news for AMD. It's news that has gone under the radar a bit, but it's very important news for AMD long term, and it signals something very important. So basically, Arista Network endorsement puts AMD AI accelerators in sharp investor focus. And what does this mean? Well, Arista Network is a company that are very good in like internet connectivity, etc. And they are actually an AI player in terms of networking and a competitor in that space to, for example, NVIDIA. And they have shifted a significant portion of its AI workloads from NVIDIA to AMD. You heard that correct. Roughly 20 to 25% now of Arista's AI deployments are now AMD, compared to close to 0% a year ago. That shift, it's for such a company that like Arista Network, that is like a global machine, a very high market cap company, doing that kind of shift signals something very important. So I think we should talk more about the news here. So basically, AMD is drawing fresh attention here from one of the key AI customers, Arista, because they are expanding on the AMD accelerators. And yeah, Arista, this deal basically means that AMD is now being used in actual AI workloads rather than just in test environments. Most of us who follow AMD close knew this, but it's nice to see that more are getting up their eyes here. And future adoption by other cloud and networking players will be very important to watch. And I think this shows that AMD has a competitive product out there, and they are going to continue to expand. I think they are. I've read that they are investing very much in marketing, also in people that are actually out there and telling companies how great of a product AMD has. Because sometimes you have a great product, but you have to get companies to get their eyes up and actually buy it from you and test it. And when they test and see that they actually get a great price per performance, then they will continue to buy. And I think that is what Arista Network has done. So that's good to know. So the Arista is shifting sizable slice of its AI workloads to AMD, and this actually means that AMD's accelerators are being used in complex revenue generating environments, not just in trials. And for networking heavyweight that previously relied only on NVIDIA, to move 25% of its AI footprint to AMD. This suggests something very important. And yeah, in context of AMD's recent data center momentum and its role as a second source to Nvidia and Broadcom in AI infrastructure, this kind of endorsement can help AMD long term. So, Arista is a real world adoption. Directly supports the idea that AMD AI accelerator roadmap can translate into multi-year data center wins. And if they can get a company like Arista, obviously they can get similar other companies. And we know they have deals with HPE, with OpenAI. This is not something that surprised me, but it's nice to see. The move also highlights execution risk because, yeah, AMD they still needs to keep improving, and obviously Nvidia is improving, so they need to win and perform on the wins. But that's like the marketplace as a whole. There's nothing strange. Um, some risk they say here, yeah. Obviously, AMD has some customers that push the numbers up a bit in terms of AI revenue, similar to Broadcom and Nvidia, I think. And also competing with these companies in full AI systems requires heavy spending, but AMD has a great balance sheet, so that's and great cash flow, so nothing strange there. Don't forget that AMD also has the future deals with Sony and Xbox for the next generations, Sony PlayStation and Xbox, and that will increase the cash flow very steady long term. I think Xbox hopefully can release their product 2027 and Sony maybe 2029. We will see what happens there, but that is also a boost for the stability of AMD long term. We should also see all that analyst highlights several rewards, including expectations. Yeah, some earnings growth is expected from AMD, and this move also indicate that AMD's GPUs are gaining traction. Yeah, so this is what we have to keep in mind. Before I end the video, I'm just gonna show you an area where I think the competition for AMD are getting more fierce, and they need to be on their toes here, or they can actually lose revenue. Let's analyze. Historically speaking, AMD and Nvidia has had the monopoly of CPUs for a long time, but Nvidia are starting to see more and more traction for their CPU solutions through the collaboration with ARMS. And what they have done is integrating their CPUs in their own products. So they are supposed to work very, very good with the whole Nvidia package. That also means that if Nvidia sells a lot of GPUs, they want to, in that package, sell in their own CPUs, and through like saying that our CPUs are inside the CUDA system. This is the best product for the NVIDIA products. So you should buy both CPUs and GPUs from us, and that is the best. And why is that a problem for AMD? Well, for the moment, AMD are selling a lot of CPU package to the biggest companies like Meta, Microsoft, etc. Despite them having, for example, an NVIDIA GPU, they are using a CPU separately from AMD. So if NVIDIA are starting to cross-selling more CPUs, just to say that the companies should have both CPU and GPU from NVIDIA because it's the same kind of software, then maybe they can grab some market share from AMD. This is something that we as AMD investors has to keep our eyes on, because you can see through this deal here that they expand the Meta deal here is very big actually, and Meta is also a big customer of AMD. So they are using the ARM-based NVIDIA Grace CPUs for Meta's data center production applications. They're delivering significant performance per watt improvements in data centers, part of Meta's long-term infrastructure strategy. So what I want as an AMD investor, obviously, is that the AMD CPUs are being used for the infrastructure strategy. But if NVIDIA can make this kind of deal for or with Meta, maybe they can say you get cheaper GPUs if you use our CPUs. It's hard to tell sometimes if it's the best product or if it's just a competitive price that makes this kind of deal. So maybe it's Zuckerberg's friend with Jensen or whatever. Anyway, this means that NVIDIA are getting out their products there better. This also means that this is the first large-scale NVIDIA Grace only deployment. So this is where they are taking aim at AMD and Intel big time. And we know that they have invested in Intel also. So basically, Grace only deployment supported by code design and software optimization. So this is the selling point here. They are saying that through using CPUs from NVIDIA, you will optimize your CPU and GPU together. And this is a something good for you as a customer. That is how they're going to sell their products in. So this is quite technical. I've tried to watch the difference here. So we'll see if the GPUs and especially the CPUs from NVIDIA will compete with the CPU solutions from AMD. It's kind of a bit different solutions here with AMD having a lot more general system, so they will being able still to sell to a broader market, etc. But AMD, NVIDIA has such a broad scale of deployment of GPUs. So if they start to sell their own CPUs to all of their GPUs, I think that could be a problem for AMD. Continuing with the what they call Vera CPUs, they have the potential for large-scale deployment in 2027, so they'll continue to bet hard in this area, further extending Meta's energy-efficient AI compute footprints and advancing broader AIM software ecosystem. So if a company aims at the broader ARM software ecosystem, they are going for the CPUs from NVIDIA now, not just the integrated Blackwell CPU, GPU. They're also buying standalone CPUs from NVIDIA as a part of their bigger structure here. And I think what we want as an AMD investor here is that the products from AMD going forward, the CPU products going forward, is a lot better than the ARM-based software and the CPU system here. And if they can do that, obviously Meta will have done a bad deal here. And also, we have a huge opportunity for AMD. So as a whole, this means basically, I think it's a bullish sign that the CPUs are getting more important because the CPU is where AMD is the best. And this means that CPUs is a core part of the future offering. And I think if NVIDIA are starting to put real importance in the CPU, probably that means that the margins for the CPU market will increase also going forward. So yeah, that was something that I wanted you to keep your eyes on, because it's not a serious investor channel if we just talk about all the positive. This is some competition here. They're getting fierce also. So we need to keep this NVIDIA deployment here under very close attention. Thank you.